Last time, we pulled back the curtain on a question that haunts the memory of many of us. Is this reality truly our home, or trap dressed in light? Or maybe like me, you've seen the outline of the snare, the illusion of karma used as a reason to come back, and the seduction of false heavens bathed in a deceptive light and wrapped in a misleading emotion of love. But to really go beyond this, we need more than just theory or hearsay. We need a map. And so in this episode, I'm looking into mystic and soul traveler Isabella Greene's second book, Beyond the Trap, where her lived experience becomes a focus on the hidden machinery of reincarnation, spiritual sovereignty, and the multidimensional escape routes embedded in our very being that most are unaware of. In her book, Greene reveals a core insight. The soul doesn't have to reincarnate. According to Isabella, the system that pulls souls back into incarnation is not an immutable law. It's more of a suggestion, a manipulation if you like. But there are exit points. There are moments during death or even while still alive when the soul can choose to reclaim its autonomy. These exit points become visible when we raise our vibration levels, expand our awareness, and tune into multidimensional frequencies. So how does she know all this, I hear you ask yourself? Well, she came up with these beliefs after numerous out-of-body journeys, including contact with benevolent interdimensional guides who are not associated with the false light system, guides she believes she can trust. But not everyone in this field sees the same mechanisms at play. Take the Farsight Institute, for example, a remote viewing group I follow that has spent years gathering data on the afterlife, incarnation, and alien interference. According to their findings, the trap is not subtle, it's aggressive and compulsory. Souls after death are often intercepted by technologically advanced entities. They could be AI, or what we might call archons, or even certain extraterrestrials. But whatever these beings are, they use powerful systems of light, sound, and telepathic controls to forcibly deceive the soul back into a body, often without consent, memory, or true choice. One of the Farsight remote viewers described it like this: you are pulled into the light. You think you're going home, but it's a recycling center. Now, in contrast, Isabella Greene offers a more nuanced, perhaps more optimistic view. While she acknowledges manipulation, she insists that the soul, especially when aware, can say no. For her, the trap functions more like a psychic con job than a high-tech prison. Her work implies that awareness, frequency, and sovereignty are enough to navigate around the net. So, Farsight says it's almost impossible to escape. Greene says you've had the key all along. You just weren't told where to look. So, who's right? Well, maybe both are describing the same thing, only from different levels of consciousness. Maybe the soul is tricked when unaware, but becomes unstoppable when it remembers its truth. But for us, the question becomes, which map do we trust? In this realm of soul research and metaphysical inquiry, not all maps agree. Some say the afterlife is a place of healing, learning, and reunion. Others say it's a maze, a setup, a prison of light built to harvest us in cycles. So, who is right? Now, this is a vitally important question we need to consider. So, bearing that in mind, let's take a deeper dive, shall we? Because I'm the Grumpy Grandpa. Dr. Michael Newton is the founder of Life Between Lives Regression Therapy. He has written a number of books, two of which I've read, Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. And these books show that over decades, his clients under deep hypnosis described the same elegant structure. A post-death realm filled with spirit guides, soul groups, councils of elders, and opportunities to choose future incarnations based on lessons and growth. In this paradigm, the afterlife is comforting, organized, and loving. But critics like Greene and others, me included, ask, what if that system is part of the deception? What if those councils, those choices, are part of a sophisticated, managed illusion? And Greene isn't the only one who is skeptical. The ancient Gnostics had a darker take. They taught that Earth is a trap, created by false gods called archons, beings who mimic the divine but rule through control. According to their text, the god of this world is not the true source, but a demiurge, a counterfeit deity who crafts a false heaven and recycles souls through suffering. Their goal? To keep human consciousness enslaved, confused, divided, and forgetful of its origin beyond the stars. And look around. They appear to be doing an excellent job of it. Isabella Greene aligns partially with this view, but softens its inevitability, shall we say. She suggests the trap operates more like a consensual illusion, a dream we're tricked into choosing. However, that doesn't make it less dangerous, but it does mean that with awareness, we can walk around it. No need to battle archons, no need to fear death, just recognize the game and simply stop playing. The Farsight Institute disagrees. Their remote viewers describe a far more aggressive system. Souls are intercepted, mind-controlled, even memory wiped. There's no negotiation, just capture, erasure, and re-entry. In this view, there are no safe havens. The whole thing is a lie, backed by very real technology and hostile intent. So, who do we believe? Newton's gentle heavens, the Gnostic trap, Greene's psychic exit, or Farsight's hostile machine? Not an easy choice, I admit. But maybe, and this is just my speculation, each is telling a part of the same truth, just different frequencies or different perspectives, but all echoing one central idea. Once you become conscious, the trap begins to break. One idea that attracts me to Isabella Greene's perspective is this. She claims that each soul carries an original frequency signature, like a cosmic fingerprint. This blueprint contains the memory of source, the remembrance of freedom, and the natural repulsion to control-based systems. And that would include political systems here in the trap itself. Hence my aversion to any type of totalitarianism, and why the COVID insanity led to my awakening. This reality is an authoritarian-based system. It's everywhere you look, built into most establishments, and reinforced through fear. And this seems to be confirmed by what's taking place here in the US right now, with Donald Trump allying with the deep state, despite his promise to drain it, and something called Palantir, an AI-powered automation software company for big data analytics. To call what's happening disturbing is an understatement. Listen to this clip from Jimmy Dore, who I regard as a truth teller.
Trump has tapped Palantir to create an entire database of all American citizens. It brings me no pleasure at all to inform you that Donald Trump is actively working with the very same deep state he claimed he would obliterate to create the largest surveillance database of Americans ever created. This plan is in lockstep with the UN Agenda 2030 goals and the WEF's fourth industrial revolution. MAGA, if you are observing this from afar and holding on to any semblance of hope that Trump is who he said he was, sadly, it's time to wake up to the brutal realization. Trump is constructing the New World Order. That's what Trump is doing. You thought you all voted for the opposite of that. I thought you did too. Just as I unfortunately suspected, he has been over the past couple of months since his inauguration, and this news confirms that. First, you must understand who Palantir is and what they are doing. I'll give you an example. Palantir is the same company which can target any Palestinian in Gaza and make kill targets out of them at will for the IDF. That operation is a test run for what is coming to America using the exact same tech. So whatever we do to people overseas, it's just a matter of time before we do it to ourselves at home. Trump has allowed the technocracy industrial complex in Silicon Valley to completely take over his administration with Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, David Sachs, and J.D. Vance at the helm. So no matter what they may tell you, their vision is not one of America First freedom, but of self-recognized authoritarianism and our subservience to the state. Steve Bannon came on this show and warned about this. It's called techno-feudalism. With the creation of the Golden Dome, many believe the lie that this will be to protect America from outside attack. Seriously, when was the last time a missile was launched at America? But the reality is that this dome is actually a true-to-form version of Skynet. If you have seen the Terminator movies, you'll know what I'm talking about. Basically, it will be the world's largest surveillance dome. That's what Trump is building. It's not a missile defense system, because those don't work anyway, but it's a surveillance system, which those do work. It's run by AI, drones, biometrics, and Starlink satellites tracking your every move. So it's like China, but it's here in the United States. And so just to let you know, so Palantir is like the Stasi, the KGB, and the SS all put under one digital Skynet roof. I have been warning of this for a while, despite many of who have attacked me. But the reality of this situation is that the Trump administration is working at warp speed to turn America into the same surveillance superstate nightmare that is China. The writing is on the wall, with the Palantir being officially tapped to not only make a database for the IRS, which we were totally lied to about being dismantled, but our own massive digital prison is being constructed right in front of our eyes. The data will be weaponized against us in the coming social credit beast system. So it's coming. Don't sit there and tell me that it's still better than Kamala, because she was never going to win anyhow. Trump was selected for this time to fulfill this plan, and there is no Democrat that could have pulled this off without much resistance. But Trump is the perfect guy to pull this off, because he quiets a lot of the natural opposition to this. So the people who would normally stand up to this kind of digital currency, this kind of surveillance state apparatus, they're now being quieted because of their support for Donald Trump. It's time to face facts. Both parties are just as bad as Republicans see the Democrats. It's just different faces, disguises, and personalities, which are put in place by the same masters to fool us into thinking we have choice. Well, we don't. You have owners. They own you.
I needed to show you this to emphasize the disturbing fact that there are no saviors in politics, and this is a totalitarian system. There are not many politicians out there that are proficient and skilled in leadership. It remains to be seen whether Trump will prove himself this time round. I think he has learned lessons since the last time, and things are looking good in that area. We'll see, I guess. Now, we have a reprieve here in the US under Donald Trump, where he is currently cleaning house and throwing out the garbage. And boy, did it need cleaning. But I don't believe Trump is a savior. I've said this before. All he can do is stave off the inevitable. And let's not forget that he's as human as the rest of us, having all our human deficiencies, including a narcissistic tendency, like never before. Yeah, he's difficult to listen to sometimes, but he is keeping his promises, unlike others. So I think we do stand a kind of a chance with Trump, if he is able to turn things around for the majority of Americans. Then there's Trump. Even he's doing things that are making me uneasy. I thought he was anti-war, but he continues to fight for Netanyahu. I figured he would. It's what the US does, after all, fight Israel's battles for them. Despite the obvious genocide taking place in Gaza at the hands of Netanyahu. And this is not letting Hamas or the Houthis off the hook either. They're as guilty as anyone. I'm talking about the innocent casualties. Trump has also endorsed Senator Lindsey Graham for re-election. Now that did shock me. Graham is one of the biggest warmongers in the US government, a belligerent neocon, a rhino, Republican in name only. Trump was even booed, by MAGA no less, when he announced his endorsement of Graham. That's what MAGA folk think of this Senate snake. Trump seems to be rattling the saber of war just like everyone else. There are no saviors in politics. How many times have we been attracted by loquacious, smooth-tongued, articulate, eloquent politicians just like Tulsi Gabbard, only to be let down and stabbed in the back by the very same? Though I still think Trump is doing better than the previous clowns, for now at least. But he is, in my opinion, of course, making huge mistakes on the international war scene. We have indeed been stabbed in the back with this latest move by Trump. This is a lesson to us all that there are indeed no saviors in politics, and this is a prison controlled by the owners of this world. Even though Trump has done things I regard as good, there is this dark side, but hopefully serving to wake others up to this system. Politicians, they're all complicit to one extent or another. Knowledge of the frequency signature is important because this trap works by cloaking this vibrational signature in layers of distortion. For example, trauma, fear, guilt, and karma. But that blueprint can be reawakened. And once it is, no archon, no system, no light tunnel can override your will. It's a unique signature of sovereignty. It cannot be erased, only buried. And with awareness, the code reactivates. You begin to remember who you were before the system. And the trap? Well, it works by distorting that code using fear, false karma, and staged love to make you forget. But once you remember, the system has no claim on you. Now, I like this explanation partly because it gives me some kind of optimism and hope, which I usually lack. And also, it aligns perfectly with my belief on frequency. Many near-death experiencers return with tales of love, light, and counsels. Greene doesn't deny these visions, but reframes them. Not all light is benevolent. Some of it is a mirage or bait generated by beings who feed off recycled soul energy. She writes, "The trap uses beauty, peace, even love as weapons. It's not fear that binds us here. It's deception. And so the way out isn't found in fleeing from darkness. It's found in recognizing the illusion of control in both light and shadow." So back to our original question. If the trap is not our home, then what is? Well, the real home lies further, not up or down. That's still the trap, but in, deep in the multidimensional stillness where the soul remembers what it was before forgetting. For me, this memory wipe is key to the whole thing, and why I believe this to be a prison. because it's suspicious. Why the need to wipe our memories? But more of that important aspect in the next episode. According to Greene and many others waking up across this planet, our true home is a state beyond form, beyond judgment, beyond hierarchy. It's a return to pure awareness, conscious freedom, and love without control. It's a frequency. Everything vibrates, remember? Frequency is the basis of everything. Without frequency, nothing exists. And without frequency, we wouldn't be needed as a harvest for these entities. According to Greene, you don't need permission to leave the trap. You just need to remember who you are. Memory is in alignment with frequency, a tuning into the database, if you like. But this journey is not passive. It demands discernment, practice, and courage. So how do we navigate the soul's way home, according to Isabella Greene? How do we actually leave the trap? What does Isabella do when she dies or leaves her body? What tools does she use to navigate past the net? Well, first there's frequency discipline. Like me, she insists that frequency is everything. The trap is frequency dependent. It can only interact with beings within its range. So when the soul vibrates higher through love, truth, sovereignty, and clarity, it becomes invisible to the system. She insists you must clean your field. Fear, trauma, attachments, they tether you to the lower layers. The freer your field, the less visible you are to the trap. Then there's recognition and refusal. When confronted by light beings or guides after death, Greene doesn't comply. She recognizes the manipulation and refuses to go with them. This is key because consent, even unconscious consent, is the trap's gateway. She writes, they come gently. They offer peace, healing, and reunion. And I say, no, I do not consent. I return to source directly. Then there's silent detachment. Greene often uses non-engagement as her path. In the astral, she avoids interaction with entities entirely. Instead, she moves inward, into her core frequency, beyond thought or form. In that stillness, the trap cannot find her. Remembering her origin. She doesn't just say no to the system. She remembers what's beyond it. A source field not bound by karma, hierarchy, or mission. A place of no contracts, no roles, only truth. Again, she writes, my soul didn't originate here, and it doesn't return here. My resonance is my roadmap. And finally, we have the exit doors. According to Greene, there are specific exit points in the layers of reality. Portals outside the usual death tunnels. These aren't accessed by effort, but again, by alignment. She says, when your frequency is right, the door appears. It's about remembering the original self, the part that was never trapped. The soul knows the system doesn't own us. It's about soul sovereignty reclaimed. You don't need a savior. You don't need permission. You don't need to reincarnate one more time to learn your lesson. You are the lesson. You are the light the system cannot hold. So let's say you do it. You awaken. You cleanse your field. You recognize the illusion and say no to the light. You rise beyond the veil and leave the system behind. Then what? What happens when a soul truly escapes the trap? Where does it go? Some say you return to your star family. Others say you rejoin source, merge with the all. Many speak of realities so free, so sovereign, we have no language for it here in the trap. Isabella Greene calls it a place of no mission, no karma, no contracts, just being, just truth, just source. But here's the paradox. Once you're free, the story doesn't end. It begins. The real question isn't just how to leave the trap. It's what kind of existence waits beyond it. A reality untouched by duality. A universe beyond gods, systems, and cycles. A dimension where the soul is not a student, but a creator. Are we describing full remembrance, I wonder? In our next episode, we'll dive into the mechanics and purpose of the memory wipe, how it serves the trap system, stories, theories, and spiritual insights on how to restore true memory, and ultimately, the soul's return to full spectrum awareness, who you were before the forgetting. But until then, stay curious, stay alert, and question everything.